little code, just
So you must look at it.
like 6 different houses, that's dogs that are just like these private dogs. They're like,
That's good.
which is, yeah. I'm very nice.
Real estate.
Cloud calls me to order. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Oh,
Mayor Newbauer,
here,
Councilmembers Robinson,
here,
Howard,
here.
Epic, here.
All right, we will entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilmember Robinson, second by Councilmember Udvig. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Entertain a motion to, well, do we have any discussion, I guess, regarding the consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda. We have a motion. I'll make that motion. Motion by Councilmember Bauer. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Udvig. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. And we have meeting open to the public. Do we have any?
Yes, Hunter Carlson is here to speak about the newsletter. Which I don't know if we haven't discussed that agenda item yet.
I think that you guys can discuss it and then that'll work.
Should we hear them out before we discuss it? Doesn't matter, I guess. Yeah, I think we can go ahead with it first.
Sweet. So, I live at 2612 230th Court in St. Francis. It's right back. I'm gonna give you guys the paper. Sweet.
I believe.
So what I have here is the newsletters across Nova County regarding their population, the name of the newsletter, how much times they publish per year regarding their population. So on the document, it just shows, it's a little fact sheet just regarding all the cities, their population, and then how much times they publish. If you look here, a lot of the cities above us do at least 4 times per year of a publishing. And then on top of that, you can see some of the more advanced cities, or cities, you know, around us also do like 12 and 6. And then another thing that I saw that was interesting is that the only city that doesn't do 4 above us is the Lion Lakes one. But instead of that, they also do a really nice news alert system instead. Instead of doing 4, they do 3, and then they do also that special system instead. So, and then on top of that, a lot of the cities will do certain just like small little news alerts online or on the website as well. But another big thing that I saw is that a lot of the cities do a mayor/city council message. That's something that you guys are talking about. And for example, in Ramsey, they do just a city message in general. It makes it easier for them to do, you know, roll out 4. Well, they technically do 6 publishings. And they have, like, for example, the last one was by the city administrator talking about the home rule charter. So they were able to still do a lot of their articles, because I know a big concern regarding to make it down to 3 is so that they only have to do 3 mayor messages as well. So instead, I think it would be good to keep the 4, especially, you know, as a growing community. It's a great way to keep in touch with the community. It's a simple way that, you know, everybody gets this in St. Francis. You know, they have to look at it whether or not, like, especially if you do something very attention grabbing on the front, you can get people to read and learn about a lot of the stuff going on in the community. Especially like, you know, the drug take back event and a bunch of other stuff that's in here that I think a lot of people would care about. And then, another thing that I found really interesting, we're a very, you know, developed city here in St. Francis. And across Sunoco County, we are the only city that does not have our newsletters up to date on our website. We are behind by 2 or 3 right now at this point. Even the cities that like Lexington or now that are Circle Pines that are below some population don't have their site, have their sites up to date and that stuff. So I think it would be a good idea to keep them going for 4 times a year. And I think it would be a good idea to do a more generalized message to have less burden on the mayor for that. Is there any questions?
No, I thank you for your work. I don't have any questions, so.
I'm intrigued that you're compassionate about this issue. What prompted you to do the homework, which is appreciated?
Well,
Yeah.
because I enjoy these newsletters personally, I find them really interesting, and I think you know, if you really want to reach the community, especially since it's really hard to get people in the door, I think it's a great way to reach out and make sure that they know certain things. Especially because a lot of the people don't know what's going on in St. Francis as is, you know, with what you guys are doing right now. I feel like it would be a mistake to bring this down to 3 times a year, so.
Any of your neighbors, I know in previous meetings you've been here and you have some relationship with the other neighbors. Do they read as well? Are you getting the same vibe?
Yep, a lot of my community reads these. I'm a little bit more interested and more, you know, passionate about it than they are. They're more like, they just read it. They're like, oh, you know, I can't believe the mayor died. I can't believe I never found that. Nothing more like, I can't believe they're trying to get rid of them down to 3. So.
Okay, and do you use our website much personally yourself? Do you-
Yeah, I use the website a lot, especially when I was looking at the fire station recently and the 47 project and just looking at a lot of that stuff.
Mhm.
So I navigate it, you know, frequently and noticed that the newsletter was missing on there, so.
Okay, I think, again, I think the reason I'm bringing up is one, cost, what it costs to do, and then the impact. Are we getting an impact? I mean, you're probably one of hopefully many. Again, we don't see many here. So unless it happens in the backyard, it's a problem, or not a problem, it's a concern. But no, I appreciate your passion in doing the homework here. Thank you very much. And something to be looked at.
Rob?
I appreciate your passion too. I think our website should be where the main focus of the newsletter should be, so that should be up to date first before we even get the print. So I agree with you in that aspect. But it is the cost of doing the newsletter, and how much participation we really have in it. Not gonna lie, most times it goes right in the trash. Cause I already know what's going on, so, but I don't know what that means to, you know, the residents. Are they reading it, are they not? It's a tough one.
Sarah?
Yes, thank you. I will comment on, I have checked at the post office quite often, and right after those newsletter comes out, the recycling bin is full. So I know. And I got them like, I was like, is this all the time? And she said, pretty much. People will, they have that bin there that people will throw their junk mail in, and they'll get rid of it, and it will be heaping full of those newsletters, because people just, I guess they don't want to read them. I too know what's going on. Straighten up myself again, just in case if I miss something or whatever, but, you know, I do agree, we can, get it up on our website a little quicker and keep that up there, that'd be good, but, you know, it is a big cost, it takes time, and I would hope more people would read it, but in reality, I think we all know most people.
I have one other question, Mayor, if I may. Do you have the same curiosity and interest in school board activities? As tonight, I see we got this out on our, all us taxpayers that are, you know, we live in St. Francis. All levy increases and concerns, etc. Do you have the same interest in that kind of stuff, or have you followed much of that?
I have not followed much of the school district. I don't live in the, I live here, but I don't go to the school district, so I don't pay attention to the school district.
Okay, are you a taxpayer here? Do you own a home or?
No, the most I pay here is $6.
Okay. I was just curious, it was just a side question, but again, appreciate the effort you put in here, and we'll take a look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have anybody else? We got a new business, I made a newsletter.
Mayor and council, before you tonight is an agenda report to discuss bringing the newsletter down to 3 mailings. We found 3 months that would appropriately pick up all of the major events that we are typically creating a news article for. A lot of the information in the newsletter is repetitive. We do a lot when it comes to the public works pieces. We've got fire prevention month, so there are a lot of set events or set reminders in that newsletter. So that is our first thing, is do we want to bring it down to just these 3 and balance it throughout the year? Or maintain at the 4, which we are doing now? The second question is with Mayor Feldman. He used to do his article every newsletter. That last newsletter, we did do a short article on him. But going forward, is this something that you want to become or continue as the mayors? Some cities rotate it, some cities the administrator does it, some cities it's just a general. So there's a lot of options there, and it's really what is your preference for that section that Mayor Feldman had so long written. So one of his biggest frustrations, I know, over the last year, maybe 2 years, was writing it even quarterly, and the challenge of projects don't change as fast. For 4 times a year to talk about the same project is sometimes a challenge. Or even talking about projects that maybe had a land use approval, but we're, Vista Prairie, where it's got all its approvals, and maybe we're waiting now 6 months to a year, there's really nothing more to say. So I know those were some of the challenges that Steve was getting frustrated with that. So tonight, I'm just asking for 2 things. Is council interested in going down to 3 or staying at 4? And then how would you like to address that mayor's article we've had for the last 5 years? So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
And we'll start with Rob.
Since I've been elected, everyone knows we're on paper and a lot of people don't read it. A lot, we need to get more involved online, our Facebook, I've been pushing the Facebook page, the city page. It's tough to spend city money for mailings that go out and they wind up in the trash. So I personally think that the 3 times is a good number. But I would like to revamp it a little bit to where the newsletter goes on to the city page. And then from there, it would go to print. Rather than kind of vice versa, maybe. I don't know how the logistics works for that, but I do believe that we need to get it on our page and on our Facebook page. It should be just drag and drop a file and people can open it up and read it as easy as they go and print it. So that's where I stand.
Sarah?
Yeah, I think I'm comfortable with 3 times a year too. For many of the same reasons Robin mentioned. I think you could probably coordinate it up where it would be on the website a day or even a couple days, maybe the date of it, that it hits the mailboxes. And if I want to slap it up on Facebook pages too, just so that, hopefully, I don't know as many people would see it on Facebook or the website, but at least it's a little bit easier for council to nab it and share it. Because few of us do share it most often, so that's kind of the direction I'd like to see go.
First of all, do we know what's the cost, Kate, to put it out every quarter? Total cost with manpower and printing, et cetera, and womanpower.
So Mayor Council, I'm going to actually refer to Jenny on that question.
Mayor and Council, I believe, and this is a rough estimate,
That's fine.
we actually had changed printers to lower the cost of it because it was becoming excessive. We have a graphic designer that puts it together, which is about $300 for her to put that together, and then it goes to print, which I believe is about $1,800, and postage is $800, roughly.
I'm sorry, what was the last amount?
$800 on postage. And that's with the discount permitted.
$3,000
Per quarter.
Per printer.
All right. Well, I'm not opposed to 3, at least try it. But then on the next one out, even whether we do it, finish out the year with 2 more or not, actually do a survey on it. Are you reading it? Can we offer something for your feedback to tell us if you're reading it? I mean, it depends on the customer. If you want it, we'll keep giving it to you because that's what our job. If you don't want it, please tell us on this, say, make it a simple check the box or drop an email, or I'm not sure how to simplify it. But do I want it or I don't want it? And you can actually put in make a call on the newsletter. It costs $3,000 approximately, blah, blah, blah. But let the customer decide is what I was thinking. I do agree with Rob as far as the Facebook post. I mean, everybody's there anyway. They might be there more than the actual city site, most likely. But we need to measure the impact somehow before we just cut it. We already budgeted for it, but yeah, let's ask the public about it. Just like we've done another stuff, give us your feedback, and if we get 2 replies, we're relying on 2. I mean, we've had surveys before on parks and stuff. We had 87 or 100 people out of the many people that live here. We spent money on the project anyway because we thought it was worthwhile, and that's what we're here to weigh and judge. That would be my take on it. Yeah, the rest of the year to figure it out. I'm not opposed to writing something or have us put some input in here. We do council member reports. We can elaborate on some things that are near and dear to our hearts, or what we think we're, we not critique per se, but just say, this is what we're hopeful for, or this is what we're working on, or, like to see. And you can also in the same article ask the public about their opinion on what you're writing. What do you want written? Maybe we get some of that action as well, so.
I have to agree with Kevin, I think too on that, whereas if we can ask the customer somehow, some way, I think it sounds like a good idea. One concern I think I do have is obviously, usually it's the more elderly customers or residents that we have that aren't as technological, that go on Facebook as much or go on the website at all. That may or may not enjoy reading these things, but I think finding a way, I mean, if we did a poll, I don't know how we would necessarily receive that from those people that are not electronic. But I think cost is one thing. If it's effective and it reaches people, I think it's great. I think one of the issues we have here is the perception of not enough transparency. We gave it out to the council before us, yelled at them. Honestly, I wasn't paying attention before I was involved. I know that fell on me, myself. I've learned that over the years as well. The other thing is with the new building situation, we sent mailings out to every household. And we still get people saying we didn't see anything about it. How is that possible when every household was supposed to get it? No, it's possible it got lost in the mail, I guess. I don't know. I've kind of lost a little faith in our postal service as of late, with some of the things that I've experienced, but that's one of those things too, that you spend money to get it out there too. And I think the biggest thing as purveyors of the purse, so to speak, is to provide those services, at a cost. But I think that looking into it, maybe getting some sort of review as well. I have no issue with making it more accessible with Facebook, whether we scan it and throw it up on our Facebook page, whatever is easiest, obviously, less labor intensive. Still, you could do the mailings, or even come up with somehow maybe get a list of who wants the mailings.
I haven't heard it yet.
Bob King is a big proponent of this city and does a lot, and from a community, financial standpoint, that you wouldn't believe. But I wonder if and I would offer to make the box itself, whether you're talking about the elderly response or transport. Make a receiver or some type of box and I would talk to Bob King if you like, and have him drop something in there, and we collect the things at the end of the month, and we might get more than, again, for the non-technological savvy people. And I'm sure who doesn't shop the Kings when they like the price or not, or the convenience or not, or they're there, we're all going there. But we can make it that a drop off point, and I think Bob would welcome it, and that's one way to reach out as well. I mean, the old school, drop it in the box.
As far as 4 to 3, I don't know if that's a huge issue, but I think if we did have more things, I guess we could always increase it again, or even put out a special newsletter if there was something that was that's important, so to speak, that would impact the people enough. So I'm not opposed to going to 3 necessarily. I do appreciate Hunter's work. I appreciate your passion. I think it's awesome. Very rare to see, and I think it's just really cool to see, especially somebody as young as yourself. We don't get people that are impacted by our decisions even in here enough. So I appreciate that, but as far as direction, I guess we have a consensus on exactly what we wanna do. Do we wanna cut down to 3? Do we wanna, I mean, where are we at with that? When there was 3 or 4, what would you say, Kevin?
I'd say, since we're so close to the end of the year, excuse me, let's finish the 4 out, and we'll be able to also get our message out. And then in January, take a second, go, and then look at it and go from there. Be my thought.
Rob?
Yeah, I would agree with Kevin on that. I know how many customers do we have on the Pixel thing? Can we, just for emergencies, can we, send it out on Nixle, hey, newsletter went out,
I'll be getting the phone.
I don't know.
There's an option to do.
Any thoughts on the mayor's column?
Well, as far as that, I mean, I don't know if we necessarily need it to be just the mayor. I have no problem doing it, but that's what you guys want. I think if we alternate either through council members or even some staff, whatever I think we have as far as information that's pertinent to the people is what's important to do. If regardless of what it is, I mean, if it's a fire department event, police, event, whatever, which those are gonna be in there anyway, more than likely. But as far as council members, or staff, I think whatever information we feel is important, and maybe we could even have whoever's turn it is, if they really don't have much, I mean, they could always refer, throw it on my lap, whatever, and
We're critiquing.
yeah, right, there's that too. So I don't have an issue with that, I don't think, to me, I don't think it has to be the mayor, but at the same time, if that's what you guys want, I have no problem doing that. I think it'd be cool too to get to know more people, the people that do read it, they get to hear what you gotta say, or, that's your soapbox. That's how I feel about that, I don't know, how do you guys feel about that, Sarah?
Yeah, I'd be fine with contributing. I think it could be a good way for council to report on movies that they're on and give an update on everything. That could be good.
Rob?
Yes, sir.
I think it'd be all 3 of us, who can, do something.
2 at a time. Only two.
Oh, that's right. We don't want to meet, so there'd be a forum out there.
Do we have direction?
I do, thank you.
And with that, we will now move on to reports.
Mayor and council, for your review is the July monthly report for the fire department. We did see a slight increase on our response times year over year for the month of July, up to 9 minutes and 23 seconds, but still within goal at under 10 minutes per month. And we did see our call volume tick up just a little bit again in July, with the total runs on the month for 67, which is an increase of 6 from the previous year. With that, we also did see a slight increase in firefighters per response, up to 6.3. In our fire versus EMS run distribution, we saw our fire runs creep up a little bit in July. Not uncommon during the summer warmer months to see that number creep up, and nothing too alarming to report in that category. For the month, we did a fair amount of variances, and we're starting to see those ambulance response times over 20 creep up once again. We seem to be seeing patterns with staffing and available ambulances creeping into our service area again, so we're continue to monitor that situation. And for the month of July, we did not have any inspections. That was partially due to some vacation time over the 4th of July holiday, and then we did shift our focus towards getting the facility ready to move over to 4020. I did also want to provide an update. We are functional on the 4020 building. We still working on a few logistical items. The electrician finished up last week with putting in drop cords, getting our compressor up and running, putting some outlets above the locker. None of this would have been possible without the help of the fire department staff, public works, city hall, and what a great week of celebration with the groundbreaking and really accelerating that process. So we got moved out of there in about 24 hours, so it was a heck of an effort by the team. But with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have.
And we'll start with Kevin.
Yeah, thanks, Chief, very good report. Can you give us your take on current updates on Nowden support and Bethel support with your discussion with those cities?
We continue to have discussions, as you, the mayor, are aware. We're continuing to have discussions with Bethel. We have another meeting coming up next week. The mayor did reach out, and we did actually provide the tanker for the parade this weekend, which they're very, very thankful for. So just another gesture of we're continuing to be a partner in this process.
Okay,
Kate and I will continue to work through some documentation pieces that I think are important to continue to gain traction on the Bethel arrangement. There's been conversations with Nalden about extension. There's a meeting coming up in a week to kind of iron out what that could look like for next year, so we continue to move that ball along as well.
and with September looming, do you have a deadline for now then? Not Bethel so much because it's not going, will always be mutual aid, that's not a problem. But any deadline for now then, they're in their budget phase as well, about how much they had to spend and what to spend it on.
Correct. I do have a budget work session over now on Wednesday evening. Ideally, we would like to get this done on both sides before the levy has to be set. I think we're close, but that's kind of our working goal right now.
Do you think it'd be more than a 1 year situation? You said they were,
At this point, I don't know. I think for certain they're looking at a 1 year extension. Whether it goes beyond that, I don't have things for you.
okay. Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Rob?
Good report, numbers look good. The new building is working out well.
We've had some kinks, but it's a
I've
change.
heard.
It's a change. And with the change comes adjustment, right?
All right, nothing else.
Thank you.
Great report. Hard seeing those over 20s creep up again, but I guess there's a shortage of workers everywhere and it's gonna impact that. So congratulations on getting out of that old building. Well, we'll get you in as soon as we can.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Good report as usual. I don't really have any questions about the report itself. I did get over there and see the building. It's interesting. Looks like it'll work, but like you say, I'm sure there'll be some challenges. I don't know if you, I know Kevin's been over there to check it out. I don't know if you guys have, but it's interesting. Have you guys had any, or have you had any luck with people kind of hanging out in the lounge area over there that they have?
We've had several people hanging out, but that's more, we're still kind of buttoning up some loose ends to make that building not only comfortable but functional. So we've had a fair amount of staff taking turns going up, installing things like TVs and making sure our compressor is set up and moving equipment around. So there's been a fair amount of traffic in and out of there. We haven't seen a whole lot of people settle in yet, but again, it's not perfect.
Has that affected response times a lot, or?
It's too early to tell. Ironically, over the past probably 2 weeks, we've had a fair amount of overlapping calls, which will automatically kind of show a decrease on our response time, especially when we're already at the station or already tied to an event. So I think we're really gonna need to have a clean month. So I think September will be a really good time to kind of take a look at that and see if we're starting to identify some changes in the pattern, right? Once we get a clean month where we're operating entirely in that facility, we'll start to have a better idea, right? And then things will obviously change when winter comes because we'll have more interactions with public works, especially during snow events.
Right.
So there's still some logistical things in that capacity that we need to take into account. But once we get a clean month, we'll have a better idea where we're sitting.
That's all I have. Anything else from council?
Sure.
And now we will move on to item 13. I'll turn it over to Dave. 12. Well, oh, we got 12. I guess we're going that first. I passed down. Council member reports. Sarah, go ahead.
I attended a work session. And I also was able to make it to farmer's market and I had missed a couple of weeks. I missed it. We have some new vendors there again and it's very exciting and we keep trending at the little over 200 people mark. So I think that's great. And I was talking with Jody and it sounds like we might try to extend it a little bit to see if we can get some. Oh, you didn't hear that? She thinks it needs to go a couple weeks longer when our was coming, so be weird. Which I actually think is a good idea. It seems, we don't have all the veggies coming out of gardens that people want to share. So zucchini season is coming, lock your doors.
Yeah.
I was just last Monday and then also attended the planning and zoning meeting that was on Wednesday. They seem to be brief at this time, but things are kind of chugging along. But just to let people know, there's an auto zone that they came and applied for. An entry or use permit. They're actually gonna be, we'll have, O'Reilly Auto Parts, we'll have our municipal liquor store, and on the other side, we'll have an auto zone. Why, I know they've been doing this around the state anyway, I've seen on Highway 65 where competing businesses go, they must do a market study to say it's worthwhile. I saw an O'Reilly representative in the audience, and he said nothing, which, what can you say? And the auto zone person, so, well, our town will be blessed with 2 auto parts stores. And before long, we'll probably have maybe 2 Dollar General stores, so we're busting at the seams with parts. But, so that's coming, it's, again, intriguing, how they can justify that, but, our customers in town, it's about choices. So that's all I have.
Rob?
It's hot in Texas. I don't really have anything to report. I've been out of town for the last 10 days down in Texas. But I do want to make mention to the mayor about, if anyone else wanted the meeting open to the public, the second one, to kind of.
Oh, yeah.
But nothing to report from me.
I guess before I do my report, do we have anybody else for the second meeting? No? All right.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I can confirm it is also hot in Texas, so it's not Dallas. I had been to work session as well, been in touch with, many members of staff, and a few residents, over the last couple of weeks. I did reach out to Oak Grove's mayor, I did send him an email, extending the olive branch to, hopefully work together better in the future, and he actually did call me back, had a good talk with him, and it looks like it's time to move forward, I think, between the 2 cities to become more sister cities, so it sounded like it was a good deal. We offered to possibly meet up and, so he doesn't drink coffee, but to have coffee, I don't drink coffee either, so we'll see how that goes, but possibly after Labor Day, hopefully we'll get together and, hopefully continue to mend the divide between our 2 cities, so. I was really happy to hear that, he did thank us, and then, thanked me for reaching out, and I reached out prior, and he came back to us and returned the favor, so, you know, just to throw that out there, I do appreciate that as well. That is my report, and now we will move on to item 13 and turn it over today.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council. This item of business is the performance review of the liquor store manager. I can briefly outline the process and framework for the discussion related to obtaining city council direction on the issue of the liquor store manager's work-related performance. I would note that under state statute, these can be held in closed session. However, John has indicated that he wanted that to be an open meeting, so we'll proceed accordingly. I will also note that the underlying data of the performance review stuff is technically personal data, but because we're in open session in city council, we can talk about it to the extent that's necessary on that. So what we're asking council to do tonight is to review the information. If you have any concerns or direction from either the previous discussions that the city council has had in regard to the liquor store operations and things that council wanted to see moving forward. At that point in time, council can discuss, and then we would be looking for council to provide direction to staff. We did list a number of different options, and we kind of did the whole gambit, just so the city council knows what those options potentially are. First one would be providing direction or clear directives on a timetable on things that council wants to see accomplished. And again, the time frame in which they want that. Secondly, if council feels it necessary to issue any non-termination related discipline, to outline what that is. Thirdly, if council feels that the relationship is not repairable, it has the ability to issue an intent to terminate. That would be followed up with a special city council meeting, which the city council would determine the time on that. And then the other option would be any other option that the city council would want to direct either staff or the liquor store manager to do. And so with that, I turn it back over to see what feedback the council has. If the council has any questions, either of us, John, and we can go from there.
Should we start with Sarah?
Well, I'd like to hear from Rob, since we haven't heard anything from him on this subject. I'd really like to hear something from him first.
Okay.
Okay.
Had I known where the liquor store was prior to the expansion, I would not have went for an expansion. I haven't seen much growth towards marketing and actually moving forward with the sales and promotions and things like that. It's been pretty much for me just status quo rolling through, and I need to see something bigger and better. We talked about the MMBA, and we really haven't, for me, I haven't heard much progression. So I'm we need to make next steps, I think. But I'm not a proponent of, slashing the tires and going all new at this point. So that's where I'm at.
We did have the MMBA show at the last work session. I had to attend by Zoom. But they did provide some information with some of the things moving forward. So there was some progress on MMBA, but and I guess we'll go to Sarah.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I really was hoping to see a lot of changes. I was hoping to see separation on Facebook, on just different social medias. I wanted to see stuff getting out more timely. I think that we're at a point now where we're kind of our backs up against the wall where we have to make some pretty drastic things at this point. To keep the liquor store going and to make sure that it's functioning at a level that can support itself and support our community a little bit more.
Well, I want to first say John's not on trial here. It's the business method that's in concern and in question, really. The big deal to me. I think it's a real luxury for us to have a revenue source like a municipal liquor store. We should take advantage of it in any way possible. We just need to utilize it or not have one at all. If it's breaking even, it's not making the city any money. It's not paying for itself. If it's going backwards, it's costing the city money. So the bottom line is, I think it's again, it's not John, it's the methods that's been taking place or haven't taken place really in the long run. So I would actually make a motion for option 3 for termination, only for the simple fact is, I think we need a fresh perspective. Sometimes things get old and stale and been there, done that, as I point to myself. But I think it's just time for something fresh. It's either it's going to sink or swim. We've heard some ideas about saving it, but I haven't heard any ideas about we making money on the front side, but not how to save money on the back side while we're trying to make money on the front side. We've given more resources, more employment, time, more hours. It's just time. I'm not going to belabor the point. I looked at the facts. And again, I appreciate the MMBA coming here as well, but I think it's a little too late. So that would be my take on it. Thank you.
Yeah, John, I think we needed more time after the remodel. I don't think that the remodel on us, that can be, and that's something we decided to do. Regardless of the situation, I agree with Rob as far as if we had more information, we may have made a different decision. Again, that's not on you. I hate even sitting here and having this conversation at all. I do feel that. I think we've had a lot of time and looking at the timeline. I think it's more than likely time to try something different. It's not personal, it's business, and I hate to even say that. You know, I think that's probably all I should say at this time, but I would have to agree with Kevin. I think we might need to go a different direction and see something new. And with that.
Mayor, council, can I?
Yeah,
So. I understand that my communication with you guys has been lacking. I mean, I get that. I am not a very good communicator in general. But to say that it's not personal, it's business, I find odd because we are up 6%, over $100,000 in sales this year so far. 5% in customer count. So people are coming into the store. We're up 4,000 customers. I'm doing my job, bringing people in, bringing butts into the store. To say it's not personal, I find that very, very hard to believe. Not necessarily with you, Joe. I know that the council member Robinson is, we've had our differences, but my numbers are there. Communication does need to be there. I understand, and I am willing to work to try and get to that point, but my numbers are there, and that's all I can stand by is what.
I mean, I think the hardest part for me is understanding, like, so we have, I don't know how much of this we should even get into, which is, this is just to be, I don't know, it's legal stuff, right? So I gotta be careful. When we have, you know, gross income, we have costs, and we wanted to upgrade the, you know, we upgraded it with the full-time position, whatnot. And we're looking at getting more help, but not necessarily increasing as much as we should, I guess. If we're getting that much help, the cost of increasing of labor, we should have the more sales to really back that up and see a bigger draw. And again, I don't run a liquor store. I'm not a liquor store business. I'm an HVAC guy. We kind of had that conversation. I had an idea that it turns out when MFBA came out that I had the wrong idea, which is a good thing. I'm not running it because I probably wouldn't, you know, I probably wouldn't make it very far, but I guess at this point, I don't know where we go next at this point during the meeting. But
the way I look at big picture, you're the manager. So I don't expect you to go on Facebook and make posts. But what I do expect is the manager to set the goals. We put full-time employees in there, and not only are they supposed to run the register, they're there to make the city's liquor store great. So that's why I'm kind of like pulled back a little bit. I need to see managerial work on that aspect and see where we're at on profits, but we put new employees in. And if we're right at that mark, we're not making money. We're just going downhill according to the information that I saw. What we're spending on labor and what we're making profit, we're actually starting to lose money. So like I said, I don't run a liquor store either, and I don't really understand profit margin versus, you know, labor costs. But when it's level, I need to see something bigger and better from the employees. To be excited about posting stuff on Facebook and doing things for the liquor store to bring more and more people in. That's what I want to see. Not all on your shoulders. And if managing is where you're lacking, and then we might have to go differently. But right now, I can't get there.
Can I say something, Mayor? Again, as far as personal, I didn't put the target on you. You put the target on yourself by lack of communication for 14+ months with administration. With Darcy, Kate, even the mayor in the past. It wasn't me. I didn't do this to you. You're not a victim. And sometimes we're a victim of our own demise. So, believe me, I gave you plenty of opportunity and, you know, tried to interact, but if you don't, you know, I get an email 4 days ago. What would you like to see? It would have been fun to have a handshake and a conversation with you 14 months ago. So again, it's business. You know, I don't even know you that well. I mean, I've shopped at the store, but that's about it. So I didn't make this happen. Don't pin it on me.
So can I ask how many times you've ever reached out to me personally?
Well, actually, I relied on staff to reach out at what's going on. It's kind of an up-down situation. So,
So if I don't get that information, that's still on me, right?
no, you were getting information. I've heard reports that people have asked for things within the administration and you don't reply. Or whether you're not following through on simple practices. I mean, that's all I have to go by. Should I go around my administration and talk to you and say, you know, I'm hearing some reports, John, can you give me a little insight on this? Why would I doubt what the people who are in charge telling me and go around and try and fix it? I'm not a fixer. So,
If you have a question, contact me.
well, again, I rely on the staff who deals with you on a day-to-day basis. I'm a part-time guy or individual here working for the city, so.
I understand.
We have a vote for option 3, you said.
I'll make a motion for option 3.
Apparently there is a motion on the table. So do we have a second for option 3? For that motion.
I'll make a second.
Second for Udvig. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. With that,
Mr. Mayor, would it be appropriate to set a
Dave,
special meeting day for the donation?
and we have a meeting date. Do we have dates that work for everybody as of yet? Was it the 5th we're gonna look at?
Mayor and council, so the 2 dates,
Or 9th or?
so this Thursday, August 24th, or Monday, September 11th.
He said 11th or the what?
So Thursday, August 24th, or Monday, September 11th.
Definitely make the 24th
I'll do that one.
I can do 24.
or the 11th, so I can make either one.
August 24th. I'll be on the calendar. I can make the 11th. You guys have a quorum anyway, so I don't need to be there.
Works. 24th, we need a motion to set the date.
You directed that that's kind of the day. Mr. Mayor, so.
And time and place.
That's what the community room.
No, Mayor and council, we could use the community room. And then you would have to set a time.
What time works for everybody?
I'm open all day. And
So we do 5:30.
5:30.
5:30.
5 works for me.
I won't be quiet.
You can't, so 5:30.
I could, but it was very difficult, so I'd rather 5:30.
Mayor council, is this something that I need to attend?
I'm sorry, Dave.
He can certainly attend if he desires to do so.
You don't have to, but you can. All right. And with that, Just entertain a motion to adjourn at that point. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion, yeah.
Motion by Ludwig, do we have a second? One second. Second by Bauer, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The adjourn.